Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, and thank you for allowing us to come into your listening and viewing environment. We are here with you every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, broadcasting live from the FijiWater.com sponsored studio to discuss whatever topics you might like to discuss, whatever issues of life you find challenging or that you find difficult to navigate. We are here to discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss marriage, divorce, raising children, blending families. You can discuss dating and relationship, whatever's in your heart, whatever's on your mind. God is concerned about that which concerns you. And so we are here with you and for you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, brought to you daily by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the blue cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. This is not just ordinary water. This is Fiji Water at FijiWater.com. And for those of you who continue giving on the give segment of our app at New Life-Delaware, and those of you that have made a weekly or monthly commitment to support the broadcast by giving on the contribution pages of our website at newlifeministriesinternational.com and newlifeinternationalcdc.com. We thank you for your support and for your commitment as we fulfill our commitment to God to be here for you and with you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers. However, before I do that, I want to remind everyone that we are Facebook Live, we are YouTube Live, and we are RadioFreeNetwork.com Live. You can go to RadioFreeNetwork.com. You can click on radio. The drop box will appear. Click on the New Life link, and every broadcast will be available to you. And the reason that's so important is because as we continue to move forward to expand our platform offerings, we are in the process of installing our automated system for our 24-hour internet radio station that is going to be WKAP, our faith empowerment station. And we're going to keep you informed of the progress that we make, so that when we go live, everyone will be able to tune in wherever you are across the U.S. and wherever you are around the globe. You'll be able to tune in 24 hours a day to listen to music. You will be able to listen to segments. Of course, you'll be able to hear from me on our new radio station, our new internet radio station, WKAP Faith Empowerment, where we actually put our faith in action. And so I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that your mother does not like your husband and is never considerate of him, and he does not want to be around her and does not want your children around your mother, speaking negative to your children, speaking negative about him to your children. So let me begin, because this is something I really am going to have to walk you through. You know, I recognize that families sometimes merging together can be difficult. And I have to say that that's a challenge for many people, because what happens is that you bring two families into the environment. You might decide that one side of the family is not a family that you're going to be able to deal with, and the other side of the family may be someone that you can deal with. Or you might find the two families merge together and become a stronger unit. Unfortunately for you, your mother, his mother-in-law, has decided that she does not like him. Now, it could have been something while you were dating that she didn't like. It could have been a number of things. Unfortunately, your mother has, because of her own life experiences, has decided that nobody is good enough for you, and your husband, she made that decision before you got married. Now your husband has to deal with the fallout of that. And now you have children. So what she doesn't realize is that she's alienating herself from your husband, which is going to provoke him to keep your children away from him or to minimize the time that she gets to spend with her grandchildren. Now I have to tell you that can be a very difficult dynamic, and everyone's not as blessed as I was to have a relationship with their in-laws that I've been able to enjoy. My mother-in-law, and I had this conversation recently with my wife, my mother-in-law was the apple of my eye, and my mother-in-law loved me with a mother's love. My mother-in-law loved me beyond anything I could have ever imagined or experienced. And consequently, I love my mother-in-law. So I had a positive experience. Everyone doesn't have that opportunity. So I'm going to share with you what the Lord wants your husband to do, and I'm going to share with you what the Lord wants you to do, to have a conversation with your mother, that if she does not adhere to the conversation, or accept, I should say, the conversation, she's going to miss out on the opportunity to spend the time that she might like to spend with her grandchildren. Now, I'm going to encourage you to let your husband hear this also. Your husband's going to have to make an effort. And the effort is, I'm going to treat her with kindness. I'm going to try to form a new bond with his mother-in-law. You know, he needs to find something that the two of them can do to bond together. You know, I will share, and he can come up with his own example, but my mother-in-law, you know, God rest her soul, you know, when my wife and I were dating, I would go by, I'd go and order food, pick up food, and I'd go and sit down with her, and consequently we would eat dinner together, and we'd have conversations together. You know, it's, you know, those are things you can do with your in-laws if they're people that you can get along with. And then consequently, after my father-in-law passed and my mother-in-law, my wife and I brought her to live with us, and my mother-in-law would, you know, cook dinner so that my wife could focus on her career also, and she'd always set two places, and everyone else, you know, she'd set a place for her and myself. And the reason is because that was our bonding time together. So your husband's going to have to make an effort to find something that he and his mother-in-law can bond to do that will bring them closer together. But you're going to have a conversation with your mother and explain to her that's your husband. And if she can't get along with your husband, you're going to spend less time with her, and she's going to have less time to spend with her grandchildren, because you're not going to, you know, the Bible says that a man will leave his mother and father and cleave unto his wife. Well, it's the same thing, mankind. It's the same thing for a daughter who, if your mother is not going to be considerate of your husband, you're going to have to set some boundaries, because your husband is one with you. If she's not going to accept him, it's going to create a breach in your relationship with your mother. So your mother's going to have to put in some work too. Everybody's got to put some effort into this. But the reason he doesn't want your mother around the children is because he doesn't want them speaking negatively about him to your children. And there's nothing wrong with your husband. There is nothing wrong with your husband. Good man, good husband, good father. You know, that's what every woman should want and every mother should want for their daughter. Now, your father's not in the picture, but you didn't say that in your communication, but God allowed me to see in that secret place of your life. Your father is not present in your life, so, you know, that's not a dynamic that he can work on. It's not a dynamic that your husband could work on with your father. But it's a dynamic that your husband's going to have to work on with your mother. And you're going to have to set some boundaries so that your mother understands if she cannot accept and build a relationship with your husband, it's going to create a breach in your relationship. That means your time is going to be limited with her. And the time that she might like to spend with her grandchildren is going to be limited also. And no parent who has grandchildren wants that. We all want to spend as much time with our grandchildren as we possibly can, because that's the succeeding generation. That's the next generation. We want to be able to have that time and that bond with them, to enjoy them. So you all have some work to do in this. The only ones who are innocent in this are the children, because they're minors. Your husband first has to put in that work to build a bond, to develop a bond with your mother and build a relationship. You are going to have to set some boundaries with your mother so that she understands if she's not going to put in that effort, then it's going to set limitations and restrictions on your relationship and the relationship she has with her grandchildren. And your mother's going to have to be willing to take the step to accept your husband, the father of her grandchildren, your husband and the father of her grandchildren, and accept that he is who you've chosen and he's a good man who's trying to do the right thing in life. And then you'll all be able to build a great quality of life together. That's what needs to be done, and that's what must be done in order for you all to get to the next level and to experience the fullness of God in all of your lives. This segment of the broadcast has been brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. So if you are not currently a T-Mobile customer, you may call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will move you into our queue so that you may become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill at T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you want to introduce your new man to your adult children. However, you know that they are not going to be receptive to establishing a relationship with him. So you have to ask yourself, first of all, let me walk you through this. Why are your children not willing to establish a new relationship with your new man? Now, when you say your new man, you just mean that this is the man that you have now formed a relationship with. He's become your significant other. And your children, who are adults, have tolerated meeting him. They are just not receptive to you having a new relationship. That's why they're not receptive to you as to establishing a relationship with them. Well, here's the facts of the matter. You know, they don't like the idea of you having a new man because they have a relationship with their father, and because they're young adults, they feel like, and particularly the daughters, you know, they feel like they're betraying the love of their father by forming and establishing a relationship with someone else. Now he's willing to have a relationship with your adult children because he understands the importance. See, men are really not as we're not as unintelligent. I'll say that. I didn't want to use the word stupid, but we're not as unintelligent as people think we are. We're really pretty simple creatures, but we're not unintelligent. So we can sense when people really don't want to deal with us. That's something that we have the ability to sense. And in your new man's case, it's not that he's not willing to have a relationship with them, but your children are reluctant to allow him to establish a relationship. And the reason is because in their mind, if you and their father got divorced, the chances of you forming another relationship and staying in that relationship are not very likely. That's their thought process. That doesn't make it true. That's their way of protecting themselves. It's not that he's not willing, and pardon me, you say you want to introduce him, and I might have got a little ahead of myself. It's not that he's not willing, it's that your children, you're concerned about them being willing to establish a relationship. And that's the reason. The reason is they don't know that it's going to last, so they'll be reluctant at first. You need to make the introduction because it has to happen at some point. You need to show them. You can't just talk about him, and that's why I got a little ahead of myself. You talk to them about him. But you can't just talk about him. You've got to show them. You've got to give them the opportunity to get to know him. And then you got to give it time. Because, you know, they've got a lot of emotions that they're not quite capable yet of taking those emotions out of the equation. They're looking at, well, we've got a father. I don't need someone else to be my father. Well, he didn't say that he's going to replace their father, but he's willing to participate in their lives. I don't know why it's hard for young people to accept that more than one person can love them. You know, it's I guess that's all part of the maturation process. But for whatever reason, you know, young people find it difficult to allow more than one person to love them. You know, so they build up these walls, and then once the wall's built, they don't know how to take it down. And once the wall's built, the other person's going to stay on the other side of the wall. So he's willing to participate in their lives. You have to introduce him to all of them, all three of them, and make certain that they have the opportunity to get to know him. And they're only going to get to know him over time. It takes time for them to get to know him. So you have to allow that time, that process of time, to take its course, to run its course. And as time goes by, and they see that he has some staying power, he'll be able to establish a relationship with them. You say you know they won't. You may know your children, but you don't know God is going to manifest as time goes by. And he's going to have to demonstrate to them that he has staying power. You know, they watched you and their father separate, get divorced, and go on your separate lives. They're going to have to see that he has some staying power. And you're going to have to allow him the time to get to know your young adult children, and your young adult children the time to get to know him. You know, everything we do is really, or that we should be doing, is really about building a great quality of life. Getting to that place where we experience the fullness of God. That should be our goal every day, is to be working to that end. You know, the relationship is not new for you, but you're concerned about them. You're concerned about them getting to know him. Because they're young adults, you know, you're trying to navigate that very carefully, and I understand that. But you got to give all these people your new man. He's not new to you, but he's new to them. You've got to give him the opportunity to demonstrate to them his character, that he has staying power. And you're going to have to allow them the time to get to know him and how they can interact together and in harmony. Because harmony is a beautiful thing. When you've got to stop trying to navigate everything. You've got to stop, let me use a better word, because we all are navigating something. You've got to stop trying to control the outcome. You know, the outcome is what God manifests. You got to stop trying to control the outcome and just have a plan, work the plan. I know that's real simple. Have a plan, work the plan. If you do that, you're going to find that you're going to have peace in your life and in your family, and that you will have a great quality of life. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by Charles Tyrwhitt, located in London, the UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So if you're in any of those areas, you should stop in at the retail stores. They have everything a man could possibly need. Shirts for men, ties for men, suits for men, and accessories. If you're not in any of those areas, you can order from Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. And right now, if you order from Charles Tyrwhitt, you will receive 3 high-quality cotton shirts for $99. That's a significant savings. 3 high-quality cotton shirts for $99 at Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. And The White Company, located in London, the UK, and they also have a store on Fifth Avenue in New York. So if you're in New York, stop in at the retail store. They have everything you could possibly need. Home goods, clothing for men, women, and children. And if you're not in New York, you can order from The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. They too will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that your 26-year-old daughter is currently pregnant with her first child. However, she is going through this alone, and you do not want her to raise a child on her own. You say you've been through this, been there, done that. You want to know how can you help her. Listen, pure and simply, you can help her by helping her. Be there for her while she goes through this journey. I get it. You'd prefer that she was not going through this alone. You prefer that she doesn't raise a child on her own. All that's true. I understand. it's important for the child to have both mother figure, father figure. I get it. That's not her story right now. She's 26. She's expecting. What you can do is all of the things that you've done. The good news is that you've been through it yourself, raising a child on your own. You know how difficult it is. You know the struggle. The struggle's real. But you know how to do it because you've done it. She's 26 and she's survived you raising her alone. She has survived that. Not only have you survived that, but she's survived it. And now she's going to have her first child, your first grandchild. The day will come when God will bless her with a man, a significant other, a man that will someday want to claim her as a wife and help to raise her child. And that's the blessing from God. But right now, what you can do to help her is just simply help her. Be there for her. And I know you're planning to do that. You're just emotional about the struggle right now. I get it. But you can't get distracted because the two of you are going to have to be focused on the child. You can't get distracted by the struggle. You can't get distracted by the fact that she's alone, because she's not alone. She has God and she has you. And with the three of you, think about this, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit makes everything function in the universe. Well, in this case, God, your daughter, and you. That's three. She's not alone in this. She just doesn't have the child's father in this. She doesn't have a husband to walk with her on this journey. And that's just an unfortunate circumstance of the circumstance. But those things will change. Life will get better. Your focus has to be on the child. Watch this. It can't even be on your daughter. I don't mean you'll still go to the doctor's appointments with her. You'll still be a part of the process of the pregnancy and all of that. You know, I get it. But you can't focus on her. You have to focus on the child that's going to be birthed by her. Your daughter's 26. She does have a career. She'll be back to work. The baby is dependent on the two of you right now. She's dependent. The child is dependent. I said she. You didn't tell me, but God showed me in that secret place. You are going to be with your daughter on this journey. God is going to be with the two of you every step of the way. And then God has prepared someone. He's prepared someone that's going to someday claim her as his wife and help her raise their child together. And for that, you got to give God all the glory. Because God is in the midst of this. You know, we all make decisions that impact our lives in some way. She's made a decision, and now that decision has resulted in she's going to be a mother. But the two of you have to keep your focus on the child that is about to be born. Because the greatness that's about to be birthed from your daughter is going to be the greatness that improves our society in which we live. Let's make sure that God gets all the glory, and just know that neither of you are going to be alone in this. You're going to be in this together, and most importantly, you're going to be in this with God. Today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast 3D has been brought to you by Fiji Water. A taste of paradise will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery. And you'll save money at FijiWater.com. May God bless you today. May God keep his face turned towards you. May God give you peace that surpasses all understanding. Have a great day today. I look forward to being in your viewing environment tomorrow. Remember, we are Facebook Live